Hi, welcome back to my channel today. Thank you for joining me as always here on my living room floor. Today I am going to be going through 14 commonly forgotten items for your wedding day to help you avoid those pitfalls and overly worry about little details that you may be forgetting. So grab a pen and paper and hope you enjoy this video. If you haven't met before, my name's Beth and I'm a professional wedding planner here in the UK, and this is my little wedding world where each week I get to speak with you and give you hints, tips and secrets into the wedding industry, which will hopefully make your planning journey so much easier, less stressful and way more enjoyable. So if you haven't been here before, please drop me a comment below, let me know when you're getting married and how long you've got to go. I love hearing whatever stages people are at and how they're getting on with their planning journey. And if you haven't already done yet, hit subscribe. I'm always so excited to see new subscribers joining the channel, and I really hope that you find all the information that I give here so useful. So let's get straight with the video. 14 commonly forgotten things for your wedding day. Number 1, batteries. So candles, battery operated candles are getting so popular nowadays as there's less fire hazard and they're so good and look realistic. So if you've got anything like that, you've got fairy light, battery candles, decor that needs batteries, make sure that those batteries are in those items and you've tested them beforehand, and always bring some spares. For whatever reason, an item could have been knocked on in a bag and that means that battery is dead and it will need replacing. So do us a favour and always pack extra batteries so we can ensure that we are able to turn on all your lights and there's nothing that's kind of left in bags because we can't work with it. Number 2, we're talking candles. So obviously if you've got candles, you're going to bring them with you. But if you want to have extra candles or you want them to last all day long, then you're going to need some backups. Having candles that last 8 hours is great, but in certain circumstances they will burn a lot quicker than that, especially if they're in doorways, people are walking past them more often. It will make their burn time that little bit shorter. So give us some backups and we can put them out later in the day for you. Also pack some extra lighters. They're like gold dust in the wedding industry. You can never get hold of enough lighters, so pack some for us so you can make sure all the candles are lit nice and early and everything is looking very beautiful for you. Number 3, and this is going on to if you are doing a DIY bar. If you've got a bar company coming in or someone doing this for you, this won't matter so much, but if you're doing it yourself, make sure you've got ice. It is so forgotten and there is nothing worse than, especially on a hot day, having really warm drinks. So make sure you've got ice, and also ask your venue if there's any way you can store it. Bringing the ice along with you and not having a freezer, it's not going to last very long. So make sure you've got a freezer there that you can have access to, and it's quite close to where you're setting up your bar. Whilst I'm talking about DIY bars, obviously consider how many glasses you're going to need. If you've got a team clearing up and rewashing stuff, you'll need less than if you haven't got a team. Or you can do nice things like provide each guest with a glass when they arrive and they just keep using that throughout the day. But always think of glasses and water as well. If you want to put water on the table, make sure you've got some water jugs. Hydration is so key on a wedding day. It's the last thing on everyone's minds when they're having fun and enjoying themselves. So putting in front of them to make sure that they do drink and don't get ill is so important. Number 4, things that couples forget on their wedding day is to eat and drink themselves. Now, it's going to be such a busy day. You're going to want to talk to everyone, you're going to be really excited, you might be feeling a little bit sick because you're nervous in the morning, but please promise me you will eat and dedicate someone to making sure that you do. Yes, you may not feel like it because you're having so much fun, but it's really important, otherwise you'll get to the end of the day and you'll just be exhausted. Same goes for drinking water. I would have always advised couples don't drink too much on their wedding day because there's a lot going on, a lot to see, and you'll want to remember everything. So making sure you drink lots of water between each drink that you have is really important, and dedicate one of your bridal party to that to make sure they're fetching you drinks and ensuring that you've got food kept aside if you're busy elsewhere, chatting to people or having photographs taken. Number 5 on the list, some emergency items, and this will include things like extra mascara, lipstick, makeup, anything you need like that, bobby pins for your hair, extra hair ties, hairspray, and then going into more important items that things may break and you need some extras. So things like a little sewing kit that you can sew any of the dresses back together if straps come undone, or if hems on suits don't quite hold up for the day. Things like Wonderweb are always great. I will do an entirely separate video on your emergency kit, and there is so much available online to have a look at to help you build an emergency kit, but make sure you do have something and you're well prepared. Number 6, this is something that is always overlooked and always a bit chaotic. If you are paying suppliers on the night, make sure you have the money ready, the cash in envelopes with their name written on the front, and you dedicate someone to make sure that they give this to that supplier. Obviously, if you've got a coordinator, we'll be doing this for you and we'll will look after it. But if you haven't got a coordinator or someone you can give it to like that, then make sure you've got a family member or someone in the bridal party that knows they've got to do this, so as soon as that supplier comes on site, they can go and hand over the money and it's done. There's nothing worse for suppliers on the night than having to chase money. We don't like asking for money like that. It makes everything a bit awkward. So if you can be the first one to do it and be forward with that and have it organised, we really appreciate that. Number 7, if you have a guest book and you are requiring pens for this, make sure you bring a pen with you. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been running around venues trying to find pens for people because it's been forgotten. Venues and things will normally be able to provide you with something like a standard biro or something like that, and that might not be the look you're going for your guest book. So if you want a fancy pen, you want certain colours, make sure you pack it and make sure you have a few spare. Especially if pens are sat on the side and someone's brought a wedding card, they haven't signed it yet, they'll grab that pen, walk off, and before you know it, there's no pen at the guest book and they can't remember where they put the pen down. So have some extras and be prepared with that one. Number 8 is I'm going to talk about things to do with the cake. Online, every single kind of wedding blog, wedding story will go on about remembering that you've got to have a cake knife, and there are so many stories about people losing their cake knives on the day, can't find them, cutting them with, you know, small butter knives and things like that. So obviously cake knife, but the thing that I see more often forgot is actually the cake stand. People think about the table that it's going to go on, they think about the actual cake themselves, but forget something to put it on. Yes, it can be fine on the board on a table, but if you want a bit of height to it and give it a little bit more of a stage to show it off, so to speak, then remember a cake stand. Speak to your cake supplier about this, or maybe your decorator, or go online. There are so many options on eBay, Amazon, and kind of secondhand shops and stuff like that to find one. So make sure you have a cake stand, and it goes without saying, your cake knife as well. Last thing I'm going to say on cakes as well is making sure that you know who's going to be cutting your cake up. If you're in a venue and they're kind of looking after everything all day, they may just take this on board without even thinking about it. If you've got separate outside catering coming in, they may not be there to cut the cake, and you may have to actually book this in with them as an extra service, and there could be a cake cutting charge to it, and then they provide like plates, napkins and forks and stuff like that. But if there isn't anyone to do it, you need to dedicate someone to cut that cake and make sure it gets served. The last thing you want is you cutting the cake, going off then and carrying on the rest of your day, and it just sits there all day, no one cuts it up, no one eats it, you're suddenly left with 150 slices of cake to eat the next day. And as much as that sounds exciting, you don't really want that much cake. Make sure that you've thought about how that cake gets cut and then how it gets served to your guests. If you've got wedding coordinator, someone like me on board, then we'll kind of organise that for you. And I know quite often I end up cutting up so many cakes, and that's no problem. But always ask who's doing it. Make sure that you've got confirmation and that is taken well care of for you. Number 9 is to do with speeches and your vows. Make sure you've printed them off. So many people have them on their phone, and on the day you don't actually want to be stood there saying your vows, reading it off a phone. Speeches are a little bit more relaxed, but ideally you want something nice and printed that's going to look pretty for you to hold at the front, at the altar, wherever you're doing it, and also during your speeches as well. If you're at a venue with an office, last minute, they can run upstairs and print it. But if you're going to a DIY venue, maybe you've got a marquee, you may not have access to a printer. So think about this in advance, get it printed off, and do a couple of copies and give them to a few different people. They will then have them, so whoever's nearest to you at the time, you can grab a copy of them. With the vows, yes, you'll want to have your own copy, but you will also have given that, if you've got a registry office doing it or a registrar, you will have also given a copy to them, so they will have that. But make sure you've got your own copies as well, so no one's going to miss out, you're not going to lose them, and it's going to be there for you to read on the day. Number 10, all about organisation of your decor. So if you are setting it up, or you're going to be giving it to someone else to set up, especially your table decor, make sure you've organised this into boxes or bags before the wedding day. So table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, however you've done it. And each thing you need for that table is in that box, and this will include the place cards if you've got them, menus, the table number, the bits of decor, the favours, anything like that, and also have a copy of all the names sat on that table in the kind of way you want them to be sat. Make sure you've got some extras in a separate box that if you are missing anything, we can then go and make new ones, or you are there to make new ones. I mean, I don't know how many weddings I've been at where I've got to a table and I've got 9 place cards, but there's 10 seats, and Sarah's place card has been left out, for instance. It doesn't look great just to leave Sarah's seat empty. You're going to want to give them a place card. And if I had a stash with some blank ones and a pen, I could go and write on them and make it happen without you even worrying about it. So just make sure you've got extras of that. Also things like glue, blue tack, tape, however you've kind of stuck things together, make sure you've got those items. So if anything is broken in transit, they can be repaired on the day or the night before if you're there as well. So being prepared with all the extras is so crucial. Number 11 on the list, and this is kind of overlooked at a lot of events I work at. Even if I'm booked as a coordinator, people may not have thought about extra staff for the day as well. So if you are doing more of a DIY wedding, not really if you're at a venue or a hotel, because obviously the staff will come included, but if you're doing more DIY catering, you're doing more DIY bar, that sort of thing, don't expect your bridal party and your family to be clearing everything up and clearing the glasses up and washing up and getting them back to the bar and clearing the plates and putting them away, and if you've got disposables, putting everything in the bin for you. It's just not fair to everyone on your wedding day. You want to be enjoying the day with them, and for a couple of £100 you can have some staff there on the day that are going to just make it all happen. It looks so much more slick, so much more professional, and I promise you feel more relaxed on the day knowing that you've got a team there to sort it out. So this is totally overlooked on having people there to do things for you on the wedding day. But if you're doing a lot of things yourself, make sure that you've got all areas covered and they can clean, tidy, redecorate, move things and make it all happen whilst you and your guests just enjoy your day. Number 12, if you've got lots of suppliers there all day, people like me, wedding coordinators, photographers, we may be there 10, 11 hours on your wedding day. Please feed us some food. It's just a small little thing. A lot of couples will just oversee this, not because they mean not to feed us, because it's just not a thing at the front of their mind. So when you're booking all your guest meals, make sure that you book in supplier meals with your catering as well. We don't want to go hungry. Cold sandwiches that have been in your bag all day aren't very nice when you're working long hours. So book us some meals. It's really, really appreciated, and making sure that caterers know in advance they can prepare this, and we're not kind of wandering around hoping there's some scraps that we can find at the end of the day. Normally caterers will do a discounted rate for supplier meals or not charge at all. So ask the question in advance. Yeah. We appreciate it and thank you very much. Number 13 on the list is going back to staff, and again I'm talking about more DIY setups when you've got other suppliers coming in on the day and you don't have a dedicated coordinator or anything like that. And this can be really overlooked because people, again, feel like they can just get people to do it. But if you've got the budget for it, book a coordinator. We will be there as a single point of contact all day. You're not going to be relying on a family member to answer all the questions. The last thing you want to do on your wedding day is answer questions from everyone about what's happening, where's this going, oh, a supplier's turned up, where do you want them to go? You want to be enjoying your day, as you should do after all your hard work of creating your wedding. So if you've got the budget to do it, book a coordinator. We will organise all the suppliers, where things go, when extra things get put out, how things get moved around, and just ultimately make sure that your day is totally relaxing for you and really enjoyable. So that's kind of a forgotten one that people don't think about, and how important having someone who can point around and do things and be a contact actually is. And number 14 on the day, the most overlooked thing on the wedding day is actually relaxing and enjoying the day. So many people get swept up in everything. They are so busy in what's going on. They don't have time to speak to their guests. You don't have time to be together as a couple. You don't have time just to step back and enjoy seeing all your friends and family together in one room. It will be the only time in your life this actually happens. So my last point today is do not forget to relax, step back, enjoy it. Remove yourself from the group and just watch it all happen a few times in the day. Remember, this day is so important to you and you don't want to forget it. And without doing this, it'll go by in a complete blur. So that's it. 14 commonly forgotten items or things on a wedding day. I hope you found that really useful and it helps you avoid some of the pitfalls that I have seen other couples go through in the past. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button for me and subscribe if you haven't done already. I hope that all made sense, and put me a comment below if you found this really useful. I will be back in a few days with another video and I look forward to chatting to you more. Speak to you all soon. Bye.